Hello and welcome to a special video. I'm going to be talking about Forza 5. Now I tried to put off doing too much about this game until we know all of the facts really. I don't want to kind of make wild speculation. At this time though, it does appear to be that we know enough facts to make kind of valid judgments, valid opinions on this game. So that's why I am making this video. Now I am well aware that the game is 2 weeks or near enough 2 weeks away from launch, so it's sort of a little bit pointless. Not much can be done about some of the decisions that were made about this game. However, I would like to kind of put this out there in the vague hope that somebody will see it, somebody will pay attention, and mistakes will be avoided in future. That's probably a lot to ask, but you know, it's worth a try anyway. Now I'm going to try and do this in a mature way. I'm not going to go shouty, ranty, sweary about things. I'm going to try and be mature, try and be sensible, and put it across in a well sort of thought out. Well, I say well thought out. I'm making this up as I go along, but you kind of get what I mean. I'm going to try and be mature about this, try and be sensible about all of this. So let's start with the good things when it comes to this game. First off, it looks amazing. When I watched the launch trailer a couple of days ago, I sat there and thought this is going to be the best racing game ever. The graphics look absolutely stunning. They really are very impressive. You got to also consider this is a launch title for the Xbox One. Compare a launch title from the Xbox 360 to a title like GTA 5, for example. Yeah, games that are going to look very, very pretty in the future. Also, to any PC elitists who may have stumbled onto this video, not entirely sure how you ended up here, but if you have ended up here, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little challenge. Go out and buy or build a computer for £430. That's what I bought my Xbox for. You now have to use that computer for the same lifetime of the Xbox One. And you can only change it whenever the new Xbox console, next generation after this one, comes out. Yeah, have fun running Crysis 4 on that. Now you can go away. Right, I got distracted. Yes, graphics do look very, very impressive when it comes to Forza 5, which is a good thing. Now, there are some new features on the game. Sure, it doesn't have the rain, or weather effects, doesn't have the day and night cycle. However, it does have supposedly a very fancy sort of AI going on. Now, I don't mind sacrificing the weather, sacrificing the day and night cycle, if it means single player races are exciting. You know, there are times when you don't want to go online and fight the random lobbies of fools that you see in online racing games. Not a criticism of Forza, that's just every single racing game ever made has this issue, with the possible exception of PC simulators, but let's forget that for now. Yeah, if the AI are fun, if they make really interesting single player races, I'm all for that. As yeah, it's a good thing. You want to have the most exciting races possible, even if it's only with the computer. And if the AI are being smarter, then I'm all for that. It should make for an interesting aspect to the game. Sure, we may lose out on some features that are in other games, but I'll compromise if it means I have very fun single player races. As far as damage systems go, yeah, it was never going to be as spectacular as I would personally like. I'm not really surprised though with the way the damage is. It looks like it's going to be very similar to that of Forza 4, maybe a little bit more detailed. In one of the trailers, it showed a car flipping down the road, so it looks like the rollover physics are fairly similar. It showed a windscreen smash, so maybe damage is a little bit better. They also have this neat kind of new system of making the cars look like they've been used. They look dirty and whatever as they come off from a race. Sure, it's a small feature, but it does kind of add a little bit to the game. It does make things look a little bit more interesting, a little bit more realistic. And yeah, it's a tiny feature, but it does kind of add quite a lot, especially when it comes to kind of cinematic stuff. So yeah, that's all kind of fairly interesting. We've also got the new tyre system on some of the trailers, some of the pictures I've seen of the tracks. You can see marbles sort of on the outside of the circuit, which could be an interesting thing. It could be very interesting, running around on worn tyres and that kind of stuff that you never had in any of the previous Forza games. So yeah, that's looking like a very interesting feature, having tyres that degrade. You've got to try and stay on the racing line, otherwise you'll be slipping all over the place when you get onto the marbles and that kind of thing. It's kind of it's adding more realism, and that is the way motorsport is nowadays. So yeah, I'm glad to see that the tyres are going to play a bigger role when it comes to the next game. There's also open-wheeled cars. That was not necessarily a massive surprise including them, but it is kind of cool to see. You know, you got your Indy cars. There's even I was very surprised to see a full-on modern-day Formula 1 car confirmed. There's some of the older classic Formula 1 cars. There's also an Ariel Atom V8, which I'm very pleased to see. KTM Crossbow is in there as well. So yeah, open-wheel cars is going to be interesting. I do look forward to messing about with some of them. However, there is a problem when we come to the car list. There is a very, very, very big problem when it comes to the car list. There are 200 cars on Forza 5. There are 650, I believe, on Forza 4. Admittedly, quite a few of them are DLC, but let's say there were 500 cars standard on Forza 4. That is a massive, massive gap, and they've cut out so many cars. There's not just the sort of slightly odd inclusions, you know, the Transit's gone, sadly, and the likes of your Igos and some of your smaller cars, yeah, okay, they've gone, which I'll get to in a minute. But there's some of the bigger cars that aren't in there. As far as I can see now, I have had a fairly decent study of the list. It is possible, though, that I've missed out seeing a car on that list, so if I apologise if I include a car in here that is actually in the game. But Pagani Zonda, that's not on the list as far as I can see. The Pagani Huayra is. I'm not a massive fan of the Huayra. I prefer the Zonda. The Zonda, no version of the Zonda is in the game. Aston Martin, there is no DB9, there is no old Vanquish, no old Vantage. I don't even think there's a DB5 or a DB4 or the DBR1, DB1, I don't know. As far as I can see, none of them are in the game. Yes, the modern Vanquish, that is a very, very nice car, but there's only the modern Vanquish, the 177. Did I see another one? I thought I saw another one. I've forgotten what it might have been. DBS, I think, is in. But they've missed out loads of Aston Martins. Lotus, there isn't a Lotus Elise. Daniel is not very happy about this. There is a Lotus Exige and an Elan and a 211, but there is no Lotus Elise. Lotus Elise is a staple of every single racing game I think I've ever played. There's some version of Elise in pretty much everything, but no. Forza 5 has no Lotus Elise. There's no Lotus Carlton, which I'm very, very disappointed about that. This is just an odd way. The car list is good, don't get me wrong. For 200 cars, it is not a bad list. They've tried to pick and choose their cars quite carefully. It is a good list. It's a fairly decent variety for 200 cars. But 200 cars is not enough for a racing game like Forza. It really, really isn't. The strength of Forza Motorsport, it doesn't have quite the simulation handling of the likes of R-Factor and iRacing. It can't. Neither can Gran Turismo, because they're designed for controllers. Real cars aren't controlled with a game controller, so these games can never quite have the ultimate realism that you get from PC simulators. But what they can have, or the reason why they beat PC simulators in a lot of cases, is they can have a much better variety. Gran Turismo has more cars than it has off-road racing and all that kind of thing. Technically, on the variety front, Gran Turismo beats Forza. However, Forza packages it all together in a much, much better game. It's much like the detail on the cars that Forza 4 does have is far superior to that of Gran Turismo. You can go in the cockpit view of all the cars, you can upgrade all the cars, you can paint all the cars, you can put silly liveries on them, and it's this combination of good handling model, huge number of cars, and decent track selection. All of that put together makes Forza the best, in my opinion, the best overall simulator racing game. It's okay, it's not quite as realistic as your PC games, but they don't have the numbers of cars, even if you include mods, which are often going to be very unstable. They don't have the number of cars that you can mess around with on Forza 4, and if they do, they don't actually, and even some of the cars that you can download, they're not going to be as detailed as some models. Yeah, it can look a little bit wonky, whereas on Forza, all the cars are excellently made, they're all highly detailed, and yeah, it's much better on Gran Turismo front than that. Whereas on Forza 5, there's just not the variety. There really isn't the variety of cars. You know, I can't mess around and put a V8 supercar engine in a Transit anymore. You know, I can't race my Toyota Aygo against a Citroen C1. Some of the best races I've ever done have been with silly cars. You know, the hybrid racing we did yesterday, I think the video went out. It was fantastic. It was really great fun. It shouldn't have been, it had no right to be a fun, but it was. It was such close racing. The city car racing, which we did, I think it was Ford KA, Citroen C1, Peugeot 107, Toyota Aygo, and Volkswagen Fox. It was one of the best races we've done in Versus the Community. It was fantastic fun. But we can't do that sort of racing anymore. It's not going to exist. The slowest car I think in the game is a Beetle or a Datsun 510. But there's going to be like 3 cars in F-Class. There's not going to be that variety of silly vehicles to mess around with. That's part of the fun of Forza. Putting a silly engine in a silly car, making it 4-wheel drive and drag racing against an Enzo. Yeah, that's part of the reason that makes Forza excellent. It's just that variety, that choice of, if you want to mess around, go ahead. You want to make a 500 horsepower front-wheel drive Chrysler PT Cruiser, go and do it. Try and drive it around the Nürburgring and not crash on every single corner. Part of the fun of video games is doing stuff that is rather impractical or impossible in real life. I guess you could make a silly, powerful Chrysler PT Cruiser, but you wouldn't because it would cost too much money. And yeah, you just wouldn't. But you can go and do that in a video game. And Forza 5 takes that away from you. It takes away that ability to just mess around and have a bit of fun. And it takes it away in favour of some shiny graphics. I think anyway, is all the cars, as far as I'm aware, are designed for Autovista, so you can walk around and you can look around the cars. Yes, that is all very clever. Okay, it does look very impressive. We've seen the Autovista in Forza 4, and I have no doubt in Forza 5 it will be excellent. The thing is, I didn't spend very long in the Autovista on Forza 4. Sure, when the game first came out, I did have a look around the cars because it was like, oh, look at this new feature. Let's go walk around a car. It is kind of cool. I will admit that. I played through the Autovista to get some achievements and to unlock the Warthog, pretty much. And yeah, it's a neat little feature. However, if I really wanted to go and walk around some detailed cars and have a look at all of these rare, expensive cars, I would go to a car show in real life, because then you actually get to see the real car. I won't spend that long in the Autovista on Forza 5. Sure, I will probably have a look. If there are achievements attached to it, I will probably do them, but I'm really not going to spend a huge amount of time. I think Forza 4 got the Autovista right. It included some interesting cars that you could go and have a look around if you wanted to. It can showcase its fancy graphics, but it's not really a major part of the game. Whereas Forza 5 seems to think that this is important. I love cars. I'm a huge car person, but I do not need to be able to walk around every single car in massive detail when it comes to a racing game. I play a racing game because I want to go and race, and I want to go and drive cars around a track. Oh, I want to go and build silly cars and drive them around a track as well. I don't want to go and walk around and look at the cars. If I was really interested in walking around and looking at the cars, I'll go to a blooming car show and do that there, where the cars are real as well. So it seems like a really odd decision to try and focus on this Autovista thing, when I'm not sure that's not the strong point of Forza. When it comes to racing games, graphics are not that important. Sure, you want to make a shiny, impressive game when it comes to a console game, but the graphics are kind of secondary to everything else. I say this every time I talk about this. R-Factor 1 at least is not a particularly pretty game, but it doesn't matter that that clump of trees looks like that clump of trees when you're trying to attack the car in front of you that's been stuck behind for 5 laps. You're really not noticing the very shiny suspension on that aerial atom when you've been defending from it for 5 minutes. That's not the important thing in a racing game. The important thing is handling, which I'm going to presume here that Forza know what they're doing, Turn 10 know what they're doing when it comes to handling. And with all the new tyre model and stuff, I'm assuming the handling is going to be excellent on this game. I see no reason why it wouldn't be. Sure, it might be a little bit different, but I see no reason why it won't be excellent. But yeah, the important things are handling and cars. You need the cars to race with. And we're not just talking supercars. Sure, everybody loves driving supercars. Everybody loves driving race cars. In fact, on the subject of race cars, I don't think I saw DTM cars. I'll get to that. We'll get back to that in a minute. Sure, you want your supercars, you want race cars, but you also want to be able to mess around with an iGo or with whatever it might be that you want to drive. And that's what Forza was really good at, and that's what Forza 5 has decided not to take part in, which is such an odd decision, in my opinion. It kind of, in a way, feels like Forza 5 is Forza 5 Prelog or whatever. It feels like it's just a demo. It's showing this is what the Xbox One can do, and this is what Forza 6 or whatever is going to be amazing and complete and one of the best games ever. But this game is sort of just a stopgap. Maybe the game was rushed to coincide with the launch of the Xbox One. I don't know on that. It has been a while since Forza 4, so I'm not entirely sure that is true. Who knows? It does seem like a very odd decision. While I am on the subject of race cars, I mentioned the DTM. As far as I can see, DTM cars aren't in here at all, which seems a rather odd decision. Also, On the subject of V8 supercars, I am a massive V8 supercar fan. It is one of my favourite race series. In fact, it is my favourite race series there is. And Xbox has made quite a lot about Bathurst being in this game. You know, one of the biggest Australian motorsport event that there is. You know, massive event there. When it comes to V8 supercars, there are two in the game. There is a Holden and there is a Ford. Now, I don't know if they'll have interchangeable liveries. I'm sure all the liveries will be up on the storefront for the Ford and the Holden. I'm not too worried about the liveries because, as I said, I'm sure we'll be able to go and download them. However, it seems like a rather odd decision not to include Nissan or Mercedes, who are in the V8 Supercar Championship this year. It's a bit like making a Formula 1 game and thinking, I don't really fancy including a Lotus or Force India, let's just forget about them. It's so odd not to include them in a game that's kind of made a point of having Bathurst in it, not to have all the V8 supercars. That's that really odd decision. Again, it's another one of these decisions that I'm not really sure I understand. Admittedly, it is only this year that Nissan and Mercedes have joined in, and I don't know how long ago these cars were made for the game, but still, I mean, 2 cars adding into the game, I'm sure they could have done that within a year. It's just another really strange and rather poor decision, in my opinion. We will finish on a little bit brighter note. I'll try and move away from ranting about car selection. The track selection is good on here. It doesn't include Nürburgring. Apparently, I heard rumours that's going to be a DLC later. I haven't actually seen a full track list as such. I had a brief look on the internet and couldn't find anything. So I don't know if there is an entire track list anywhere. I'll just go from what I know. Yeah, Nürburgring isn't in the game. I don't really care. I'm not a big fan of Nürburgring. I'm sure that will upset some people. But for me, personally, I don't have an issue about that. Husky, I know, isn't particularly pleased. But I'm not particularly bothered about the lack of Nürburgring. Tracks that I have seen in trailers and stuff that I presume are confirmed. Laguna Seca. Laguna Seca is in. Great track. I'm pleased to see that one. The new layout of Silverstone is also in. That's also... I'm not a massive fan of that track, but Daniel will be happy. And they've finally updated it from the old version. So, yeah, that's fine by me. Sebring is in. I believe Indianapolis is in. What are the other tracks that are coming back from Forza 3? My mind's just drawn a complete blank. There are various tracks. Oh, the Prague circuit. That's a new one that's in. The Alps circuit from Forza 4, I believe that is making a reappearance. The new tracks that have been confirmed, of course, you've got Bathurst, I mentioned before. Very pleased to see that in a game. There is Yas Marina. I was actually surprised to see Yas Marina, or whatever it's called, in Forza 5, but that's another track I quite like. And of course there is Spa. Spa it's been in a few games. I'm surprised it's taken so long to get in Forza, but again, I'm very pleased to see Spa in Forza. It's another very good challenging circuit. I've heard rumours of the likes, I think it's Long Beach has been mentioned somewhere. Monza's I've seen mentioned somewhere, might be in the game. I'm going to presume the likes of Tsukuba, Suzuka, Road Atlanta may well make a reappearance at some point. They've been in all the previous Forza games as far as I know. I would love to see New York make a reappearance. I don't think it is, but Prague's a street circuit, so I'm kind of pleased with that. The track selections does seem to be pretty good. As I said, I'm not sure if there is an entire track list anywhere at this moment in time, but yeah, the track selection does seem to be pretty good. The lack of Nürburgring doesn't bother me because the fact that there's Bathurst kind of makes up for that. In fact, the fact that there's Bathurst makes up for if there was no other tracks at all in the game, I'd be still happy to drive it. But yeah, the track selection is good. It's just the car section has let this game down. There's so much potential. Forza 6 is going to be absolutely amazing. It's probably going to be the best racing game there is. I have no doubt. But Forza 5 just isn't it. It just doesn't have enough cars. It really doesn't. Not for this kind of game. It doesn't have enough cars. And I don't want to say it's going to struggle against Gran Turismo. I'm sure Gran Turismo is going to be an excellent game. It may well stand a better chance of beating Forza 5 in this case. Forza is really screwed things over with the car list. I have no doubt Forza 5 is going to be an excellent game. It's going to be an excellent racing game. However, it's just missed half of the reason half of the thing that make Forza great. It's missed all of that variety. It's taken away all the silly cars that you get to drive, and yeah, it's just not going to be as good for it. There is going to be DLC. It will add to the car list. Don't get me started on DLC. Otherwise this video will go on for an hour with me ranting about that. But yeah, it's a really poor decision to focus on making all the cars insanely detailed and forgetting to include half the cars that are important to the Forza series. I realise you're probably watching this and thinking it's a little bit weird that this massive car fan is complaining about a racing game not having a Chrysler PT Cruiser in it. I can understand that argument, but racing games are not just about your supercars. It doesn't matter if you've got a field of supercars or a field of slow, boring hatchbacks. What makes racing fun is having lots of cars that are very, very evenly matched, and sometimes it's more fun to drive something silly, have a field full of silly cars or sort of unusual race cars. That's what makes racing on Forza so excellent, and was made some of our videos, some of the silly challenges we've done excellent, is having cars that shouldn't really be raced and racing them. It makes for entertaining races and makes things more interesting, and it's something you can't do on every other racing game, whereas Forza 5 is going to be sort of a little bit generic car list. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. As I said, I have no doubt Forza 5 is going to be an excellent racing game. It's just not going to be the racing game that I was expecting it to be. It's not quite going to be the racing game I expected it to be, I should say. I have a feeling that Forza 4 is still going to be the best overall racing game that there is. However, the one thing that you can take away from all of this, the one kind of good aspect, I guess you could say, out of all of this, Forza 6 is going to be amazing. If they've already got these, say, 300, and when they're finished with all the DLC, maybe 320, 350 cars, all made. When it comes to the next game, they're not going to have to remake them. Well, they might touch them up a little bit, but then they can add another 350 on. Then we'll have the racing game that we all want. So yeah, let's take that away from this. Yeah, it is a big disappointment. It seems like Forza 5 is going to be a bit of a missed opportunity in some ways, at least in my opinion. I'm sure other people have different opinions on this matter, but yeah, to me, this is a little bit of a shame. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys, so thank you for listening along, and you might be watching whatever racing is going on at the moment. I'm not sure. I hope I can find something exciting for 20 minutes or however long this has ended up being. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I hope some of my words are listened to by somebody important. I doubt it, but you never know. And until next time, goodbye.